Hello and welcome to our newscast. I'm Hwang Jie, live from Seoul. Our top story this morning, two South Korean nationals and another person who appears to be South Korean have been shot dead in the Philippines, according to government officials. We connect live to our Kwon So-ah at Seoul's Foreign Ministry. So-ah, it's not the first time this has happened this year. What do we know so far?
Yeah, an official at the Foreign Ministry told us this morning that the 3 people were found dead on Tuesday in the city of Bacolod. Now, they had all been shot to death. Now, 2 of them have been identified as South Korean nationals, while one of them is assumed to be a South Korean. And we just learned that one of them appears to be a woman. Now, according to reports, 2 were found tied up, one by their hands and feet, and the woman appeared to have had her hands bound with heavy-duty tape. Now, this is reportedly the 4th such incident this year, as murders, robberies, and other crimes targeting South Korean nationals have been on the rise in the Philippines over the past number of years. South Korea had dispatched its own investigation authorities earlier this year to work in close cooperation with Philippine authorities. Now, we do not know of the motive so far, but I will have more updates as they come in. Back to you, Tia.
All right, thanks for that, So-ah. We will bring you more updates in later newscasts. And from today, Samsung is offering refunds and exchanges to consumers in Korea who bought its troubled Galaxy Note 7 smartphone. And if that's you, here's what you need to know. Telecom retailers nationwide will be providing relevant services until the end of this year. Note 7 users are not required to return free gifts that were bundled with the phone, like the Gear Fit 2 fitness band, when they go to stores. Customers can also change their telecom companies while keeping their phone number. People opting for a replacement phone instead of a refund can get either another Samsung device or one from another brand. China has taken issue with the Korean government's decision to allow its Coast Guard to use weapons to deal with Chinese vessels illegally fishing in Korean waters. Beijing argues the move exceeds Korea's authority, but Seoul insists its actions are firmly in line with international law. Lee Min-young reports.
The Chinese government claims the Korean government is overstepping its authority regarding an incident last Friday off Korea's west coast, in which 2 Chinese fishing boats sunk a speedboat belonging to the Korean Coast Guard. China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Geng Shuang said at a regular press conference that the Korean government's version of events is not convincing and that the geographic coordinates where the 2 Chinese vessels were spotted is an area where fishing is allowed according to the Korea-China Fisheries Agreement. This follows an announcement by the Korean government on Tuesday that it would allow the use of weapons, such as onboard cannon and handguns, in response to increasing violence on the part of Chinese poachers. This is the toughest measure the South Korean government has ever taken to deal with Chinese illegal fishing. But China's Foreign Ministry spokesman warned that using weapons to arrest the fishermen would only set off wider disputes with China and urged the Korean government to refrain from abusing its power. On the same day, a Chinese state-run newspaper also blasted the Korean government for its plan to use weapons, saying the Korean government might have gone mad. Korean experts seem to be perplexed by China's attitude.
It's very disappointing that the Chinese government has expressed neither regret nor concern over the fact that our public authority has been seriously disregarded.
If our vessels did the same thing in Chinese waters, they would have shot them on the spot. We also have laws that say we can use weapons when our Coast Guard is under attack.
In response to China's claims, the South Korean government countered that its actions to deal with illegal fishing do not contradict domestic law or the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, which both South Korea and China have signed. Lee Min-young, ARIRANG News.
And Korea's Incheon Coast Guard is set to hold a maritime firearms drill in waters off the western port city. The drill is part of a biannual maritime exercise which kicked off on Tuesday. More than 7 patrol ships and 130 crew members will take part in today's drill, which aims to strengthen salvage operations during disasters. Authorities say the 3-day drill will focus on reinforcing emergency response capabilities and equipment operation abilities. And we're awaiting a monetary policy decision here in Korea today. We will bring you the latest on how the Bank of Korea is planning to move or stamp pat on its key rate of 1.25% in our next newscast. But in the meantime, over in the United States, Fed policymakers have agreed that a rate hike would be warranted relatively soon if the U.S. economy continues to strengthen. According to the minutes from the Fed's September meeting released on Wednesday, several officials indicated it would be appropriate to raise rates at least once before the end of the year. Now, this gives little room for Korea's central bank to maneuver its own key rate, especially facing fears of massive capital outflows. With its already record low key rate of 1.25%, the Federal Open Market Committee's benchmark lending rate stands in a range of 0.25% to 0.5%. Russia has rejected claims that it's behind the leaks plaguing the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. Speaking at an economic forum in Moscow on Wednesday, Russian President Vladimir Putin said the hacking scandal was not in Russia's interests. He said attempts to attach blame to Russia are part of a wider strategy to distract the American public from focusing on the content of the emails leaked by the whistle-blowing organization WikiLeaks. Putin said both the Democrats and the Republicans were misusing rhetoric about Russia for their own ends, but added that Moscow will work with whoever wins the election if the next U.S. president wants to work with Russia. The U.S. on Friday blamed the Kremlin for a wave of hacking attacks and email leaks, saying it was trying to influence the outcome of the U.S. election. And that wraps it up for now. Thank you for watching. I'm Hwang Jie, and do stay tuned to ARIRANG News for more at 10 a.m. Korea time with Mark Broom, and goodbye.